right, hello. Welcome to the first inaugural Three Guys, Two Footballs podcast. My name is Matthew. To my right, I have Felix, and to my left, I have Nick. You guys can't tell which direction they're sitting towards me, but hopefully that helps you picture it in your mind.
They know we're here, though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They know you guys are here. There's three guys, and we have two footballs in the room, so don't worry. So the main purpose of this podcast is to talk about all things football, both soccer and American football. So we'll be referring to one as soccer, one as American football, or footy, or both football at times. We'll make sure to let you know which football we're talking about. But those are the two main topics that we're going to be talking about. As I said, my name is Matthew. And the reason we're starting this podcast is pretty much just because we love sports, and especially all things football. We're all going to introduce ourselves, starting with myself. In terms of soccer, or footy, football, however you want to say it, I started watching 10 years ago at the World Cup in Germany, 2006. I'm an Italian fan, so it was a great peak of their footballing world when they won the World Cup. It's been 10 years now, as we're in 2016, so think about that for a second. Hope that didn't make you guys feel too old, but definitely makes me feel old. So I've been watching soccer for about 10 years. My favorite team is Manchester United out of the Premier League, and as I said, internationally, Italy. I have other teams that I'll get to as we go on in our podcast, but right now I'll throw it over to Nick to introduce himself. Nick?
Yeah, thanks. Soccer and football kind of go hand in hand for me because I had actually started out watching a bit of football when I was younger, American football, and then the soccer coverage started to get bigger. A lot of Sportsnet, Soccer Central, and the way I really got into that was my father works every Saturday morning at the time when I was like 4 or 5, and he tasked me with taping whatever Man United game was on that day or whatever live game was on that day, and I had to tape it on an old VHS. Talk about being dated. You tape it on the VHS every Saturday, and I would call him with updates. It was like the highlight of my week when I was like 5 or 6 to give him a call, be like, "Hey, you're at work. Solskjaer just scored, and with 5 minutes to go, it's crazy. Giggsy set him up, all that stuff."
You still do that.
Yeah, that's right. I do actually. Yeah, to this day, if he's at work and I'm at home watching, I still give him a call, even though we're updated with cell phones. He can check himself. I don't know. It's one of those things. And then it was actually Matt next to me, who is on my right, so that might give you a better picture of how we're sitting. He invited me to go to a Buffalo Bills game. I believe they played, was it Cincinnati? Or
Cincinnati, the first game, yeah.
And
I'm a huge Bills fan, I forgot to say that too.
Yeah, so he invited me to go along, and it was with his dad and all his friends, and we went tailgating on the bus, and I just fell in love with the atmosphere at Ralph Wilson. It was crazy. It was so much fun, and I was really only about soccer till that point, and then I got right into football from there, and then of course fantasy football took off not too long ago, and so that even increased the fandom. So yeah, that's pretty much my story. So flip it over to Felix.
Yeah, well, mine is a little bit different. I started following soccer at the age of 6. I remember I was watching Manchester United and Middlesbrough.
Ooh.
And David Beckham from behind the line scored a fantastic goal.
That was the first one.
That was the
what a way to
goal.
start.
And I said, you know what, I like this team. To put into perspective, my late dad was actually a Liverpool fan.
Ugh.
So that was not pretty, but I stuck to my guns, and ever since I've been a Manchester United fan. 20 years straight going on, and hopefully forever.
That reminds me, we should say Felix is the oldest of the group. As he remembers things like 20 years ago.
Yeah, he's like 50.
20 years ago. Yep, that's right. Strong supporter, tattoos and everything. As for American football, well, I only started watching it about 6 years ago. never really knew anything about it. For somebody coming from Africa, by the way, I'm an immigrant.
If you didn't hear the
You can't-
accent,
you can't tell.
you couldn't tell. Yeah, he's from somewhere.
Didn't know anything about it. I just understand anything about it. But I met these two gentlemen here, and they got me into football. We watched quite a few games, and I got hooked. Fell in love with Aaron Rodgers personally at home, watching him play. I think the year they won the Super Bowl, I think it was 2010.
Yeah, 09, 10.
Or 9 or
Yeah.
10.
Yeah.
I liked the way he played that game. Fell in love with the guy.
He's an easy guy to love.
He's still great.
So-
He's easy on the eyes.
Personally,
Yeah.
he is my favorite player. And for the team, Buffalo Bills fan, went to my first game last season.
Yeah.
It was a great match. The atmosphere just took me, and so yeah, that's where I am right now.
Nice.
Yeah, so we should say, I mean, we're the best of friends, the three of us.
The three best friends anyone could have.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So we both love the same teams. I mean, as you can tell, but we're going to
Yeah.
try and keep our bias to a minimum. But we probably won't.
No
So-
promises.
So obviously we have a greater knowledge of the Buffalo Bills, American Football Club, and then Manchester United. But we have a really good understanding of the other teams, and I know that'll come out with us talking. So glad you're along for the ride. Right now we're just going to throw to this weekend's Premier League scores, which will be the main league we focus on, but not limited to. But yeah, so we'll begin there. Let's start with what happened this weekend, Nick.
I'll get the worst one out of the way because it was West Brom, Middlesbrough,
great.
early Sunday morning, 0-0 at like 8:30 in the morning. And you
That's
know,
what you want.
I love Tony Pulis, but the man has no style in his play whatsoever. He's very regimented, and we're gonna defend. And there was just no chances. There was a penalty shout, which we can get back to later with all these. We'll get to that with all these new rules on grabbing shirts and everything. But that'll be designated the worst game of the week. Definitely one of the worst to watch.
Yeah, I mean, Tony Pulis, yeah, I think we love him as a guy for West Brom. But, I mean, he's boring.
Changed
So,
Stoke. He made
Yeah.
Stoke help get Stoke to where they are today. But he is.
I still think he got
It's
jilted
hard to
at
watch.
Stoke.
Yeah, a little bit.
But anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that game, 0-0, Sunday morning.
Was-
The main game, I was away this weekend, but I got to see our Man U play Hull. I mean, it was like such a horrible, dreary day
Ugh,
in England.
typical English day.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
one.
it was the worst.
Yeah.
I mean, it really makes you wonder why people play there, but you can see
Yeah.
that, the league is still great, even in the rain. With Rooney's move around the sideline and then to that great kid, Marcus Rashford, who again comes through,
Great
again
kid. Yeah,
scores a
kid.
winner. Actually, he looks bigger too. He looks
Yeah.
fit. He looks fit.
Yeah.
It looks like he really worked on that in the summer. Maybe he's Latan's influence, maybe something there.
Quick
But,
note on the Man United team as a whole. Wasn't that just a little bit of a throwback to days gone by?
Yeah.
Exactly what it
Onslaught
felt.
of the
It felt like
second
it was
half?
like Machado all over again
Yeah,
against
Yeah,
us.
we forgot all about that
He got
Fergie
released
time.
today, by the way.
What? Machado got
Yeah, he
released?
got released by Cardiff today.
Oh,
Just
wow.
a side
Oh my
note,
God.
the guy who scores that goal against Villa is unattached at the moment.
Those who know what we're talking
Yeah.
about will appreciate that,
Yes.
that reference.
Yes,
but,
you will.
but yeah, no, it's great to see Rashford score and come on, and Mkhitaryan looked great when he came on. I did feel bad for Snodgrass though, that he went down again after fighting. He was gone all year last year.
Yeah.
He had a good season to start with Hull. Actually had the first chance of the game
Yeah.
that he could have
Yeah.
scored. So I did feel bad for him. Players like that, especially for teams like Hull, you can't really afford to lose, your best creative player. But obviously, I was happy that we started 3-0. Waiting on the derby next weekend.
Oh,
Not this
yes.
weekend as it's an international break.
Mourinho versus Pep.
That'll be
is the
great.
game.
We'll be setting up that more next week, along with talking about the internationals that are this weekend. But yeah, Felix, what did you see this week?
Well, I watched the Liverpool-Tottenham game.
Oh.
That was quite the game. Tottenham came out flying, of course. They're at home. They really wanted to make a statement.
Yeah.
Quick game. Liverpool pressing high. Liverpool didn't really have much of any answers for Tottenham's play, although Tottenham didn't really create any clear-cut chances. Then 20 minutes in, Tottenham just kind of faded away. Liverpool started to grow in the game. And it's just slowed down from there. And Liverpool got the goal.
Yeah.
and which they had a huge penalty shout with the new rules coming in.
Those pesky rules.
The pesky rules. I feel Vertonghen. It was a foul. He was holding down Matip, and the referee didn't call it. And with the new rules that we're going to get into, that should have been a penalty call. But
Yeah, well, let's get into it right now then, since we're talking about it.
So
right?
the two new rules we're talking about, and you might have noticed over the course of the first 3 weeks, is that the first one is the no holding the shirt. That is a big thing. The other one is the new talking back rule to the referees. You can't give them any grief anymore. Well, to an extent anyway. But we'll start with the shirt pulling, because that's probably been the most contentious one so far, and there's been a few penalty shouts. I guess credit to Mike Dean, as he's been the only one really calling it, although he's frustrating many by being so astute in his calls, but none of the other referees are backing him up. So, I mean, I guess we have to give him credit for abiding by the FA's new rules.
you set the tone. You set the tone the first game, and gave the 2 penalties.
Yeah, and that game was obviously it was Stoke and
Stoke and Man City.
Stoke and City.
Man City.
Yeah. That he started that. We kind of saw the rules in their full effect.
Well, what did you think of the 2 penalty shouts? The two ones that actually got called, because there was a third one that should have been called and that wasn't called.
Yeah. Because he was probably forced out of that one.
Definitely the first one, the first penalty to City, was a penalty, according to the rules.
Yeah.
There was a lot of shit pulling.
Yep.
Pulled him down.
Shawcross had him.
Shawcross held him.
Yeah.
And it was a clear-cut penalty, according to the new rules.
Right.
The second one, I have no idea
I didn't get
what,
the second one.
what Mike Dean was looking for, because you look at first of all, the height difference between Sterling and Shawcross.
Yeah, it was Sterling and Shawcross. Yeah, he's
the
half
height
the size
difference, the weight class, everything.
And there wasn't much. I didn't see shit pulling. I felt it touched Shawcross' chest.
To me, it looked like Dean. It was like, oh yeah, I remember that I was supposed to call that other one. This was close, so I'll make it this. So I don't, you know what I mean? It kind of looked like he was trying to not make up for it, but kind of like remembered
exactly
what he was supposed to be. Yeah, maybe I don't know.
Considering
it's gonna be tough. I mean, especially those older referees. I mean, they've been doing it the same way for 20 years.
Oh,
some of them
at least 15. So the one that Matt's referencing, the possibly the makeup call, was our friend Joe Allen, who's not really a friend. I'm just calling him a friend.
Yeah, we know.
But he's
the Welsh Pirlo.
The Welsh Pirlo.
He
He got taken out.
Collar off.
Takes him out. Wipes him out. Clean off. Almost threw him out of the box, basically. And there was no call. If you haven't seen it, go look it up. It was definitely a call, because then he did, like Matt Hughes has just been saying, he does get to Raheem Sterling in the second half, and there's maybe like a tickle of the shirt there as a penalty. And this is where the rule is becoming contentious. And I'll bring back up that really boring game of West Brom and Middlesbrough, and you can look this up again. yeah, just to entertain you guys. Solomon Rondon's in the box, and his shirt gets clearly pulled. The ball is not in the box yet. It is about to be crossed. The Middlesbrough defender has a hold. I'm doing the actions. I don't know why I'm doing the actions.
I can vouch for that.
Yeah.
You used to.
I'm sorry. I talk with my hands. He grabs a hold of his shirt, and it's a clear tug of the shirt. Couldn't get any more clear that he pulls the shirt away from Rondon. Rondon, he's able to break free and gets towards the ball and gets control of it, and nothing really comes of it. But that sort of became the contentious halftime talk between the pundits, was that should have been a penalty. And the way I see some of these is, I don't really feel like, if you just have a tug of the shirt, is that really a penalty? I think about the Chris Smalling one against Newcastle last year.
That one.
On Mitrovic? Is that
it was Mitrovic. Yeah. Especially him too. Mitrovic, who's known for.
They were both
cards.
pulling.
Yeah. They were both pulling, and I remember the commentators, whoever they were, was probably Tyler or whoever it was.
Yeah.
Or the other guy.
One of them.
But I remember us being outraged at watching that and just thinking that they were being so unfair to Smalling. at the time. Well, especially on set pieces, I find that that's going to be the most difficult.
Yeah.
How are they going to decide? Everybody's shirt pulling. Still.
Yeah.
I mean, unless they can't call 2 penalties. You know, so if one guy's pulling his shirt and the other guy's not, but then another group of players who are marking each other is.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's going to be hard.
Now every
It's gonna be
manager
hard.
is going to have to go to zonal marking.
Yeah, which,
Yes,
about
yeah,
man
you
marking,
change in the
because
game.
They're going to have to change.
which I think is what the league is hoping for.
Yeah.
You know, more goals that way probably because it's a worse system.
Yeah.
But which is ideal for us. I mean, more goals the better. It does remind me of not to bring in the NHL, but
Okay.
when after the 04 lockout, when all the rules were changed and they were calling all the penalties, the league was much faster. Teams like Buffalo, not to just say Buffalo, but teams like Buffalo, Pittsburgh, Chicago really benefited from those calls. Same kind of thing. Tugging was being called as hooking. I wonder if that's what the Premier League is going for here. If they're going to try and increase scoring. Because they know they have everything else. I mean, they already have the entertainment, but it just seems like that would
Yeah.
be the reason, right? To try and increase
I guess I would,
extra chances,
yeah.
extra set pieces, create more goals, right?
I guess I would be the thing.
Or else it's just calling it for call's sake. I don't think they'll
Yeah,
just do it.
and me personally, I don't actually want to see more penalties. I think it's just
It
too
might
easy,
slow down the game.
and you
more,
get
right?
bored. I think you get bored of penalties. If we're going to talk about the NHL, the one thing they brought in was the penalty shootout, and it was great at the time, maybe because we were
Yeah, it was
younger.
new and
but
yeah.
now, I mean, and one of the reasons I rarely watch the NHL anymore is because I can't stand.
I know, I hate the shootout.
I can't stand the penalty shootout.
Yeah.
It's boring. It's the same thing every time.
And that league, the NHL, has reverted back to their slow play. So hopefully, I mean, the Premier League, I mean, it might work.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
yeah.
you also want to find a situation where you want referees not to feel like they're robots.
Yeah.
They should be in charge of the pitch,
Yes.
Yep.
the emotion of the game, the flow of the game, and how the game is going.
That's a good
Because
point.
just because there's some shit pulling and some shit tugging in the box, okay, I'm going to definitely give a penalty because the rules say so.
Right.
But what if it's in the 94th minute and this team is about to win the FA Cup?
yeah, there's something like that.
Something
Yeah,
like that. Like, you know, the
any league
emotion.
game, any league game.
Any
Yeah,
league
yeah,
game.
yeah.
It's understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are rules to follow, but referees should be in a position where they can make the right call at the right moment on the pitch
Yeah.
according to how the game flow is going. Because once you start this habit, like when we go into the second rule of not talking back to the referee when the fouls happen, once we go into that rule, by the end of the first half, we might have 8 men beside.
No, honestly, because they put in that rule. It seems the not talking back to the referee as much or giving the intense verbal abuse to cover how many calls are going to be called. Because now it's going to be whatever. Say it's 0.3 increase in calls per game
Sure.
or something like that.
Sure.
Or you get an extra 3 calls of shirt pulling that you wouldn't have had last year, and then you're going to want to come after the ref, and now you can't do that either.
Nope.
So it's either they're making it so a way that like it is the referee's rule. This is
Yeah.
the league's rule. They're just going to have to change, and fans too. Like we're going to be yelling at all these calls.
Yeah.
Especially when it's our team. But I mean, they're. I wonder. They must be to try and increase goal because there was nothing wrong with the product in my eyes. Before, like I wasn't thinking about.
Well,
all the shirt pulling
it goes
much.
back
Maybe
to
they've used more.
if it's not broke, don't fix it.
I know. So I'm wondering.
Yeah.
I'm wondering what was the demand there.
But what is
Yeah.
the pros though for the referees in this? For this, what is the advantage for the referees?
Well, they get to be in the spotlight more. We all know Mike Dean loves the spotlight.
We saw Clattenburg again,
Yeah.
Leicester, Arsenal. I mean, that game was really awful the first half.
They're almost the 12th man for each team on the pitch now.
And Tyler was talking about. Remember, he was talking about Clattenburg much more than the actual players.
Yeah,
Talking about how he has his tattoos of the finals that he's
Yeah.
refereed.
You don't want to talk about that.
I mean, I don't care. I don't give a.
No.
I don't care
No,
about that.
no.
So I mean, it's kind of a tough thing that the league is now put on the refs. Not that I feel bad for them because they're still referees, and I'm sure they're getting paid great.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. Yeah.
Maybe even more so now. Maybe that was part of this change. I don't
Yeah.
know, or part of that new TV deal.
But does that make them powerful though on the pitch? Do
I
you
think-
feel referees feel empowered on the pitch? Because if they do, why are we not seeing more referees stepping up like what Mike Dean in the
Yeah,
first 2
I
weeks?
think that's how
Yeah.
the league sold it to the referees. This is going to allow you to have more control.
And then they just got nervous.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But when you're out there, they don't know. But I bet that's probably
Because
how they
you
sold it to
even
them.
look at I cannot remember the referee's name from the Liverpool game. Even the commentators were saying he is doing a lot of talking to
Right,
the
right.
players. And they were saying, and one of the guys, he was saying, as a player, if you're going to give me a yellow card, give me a yellow card and let's get it going. But if
Yeah.
you're gonna keep giving me a lecture, then you're just slowing down the pace of the game.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Because now referees, it seems like they feel like they've got this power control now.
Mhm.
Are they gonna keep coming out, giving like flaunting that power because they have the power
Mhm.
now.
I mean, we're gonna have to see how it goes. I mean, it's early on still, and not every
Yeah.
referee is bought into the new system. So I mean, yeah, I guess we're just gonna have to see, especially with the abuse after so many calls.
Yeah.
It won't matter so
Yeah.
much those early calls in the first half. If you get a shirt pull or tugging, if there's a penalty, okay, then there's that.
Yeah,
but if
yeah.
at the end of the game, if there's another call like that, plus the added pressure of the end of the game, I mean, how are you not going to yell at the referee or say something to him?
That's true.
I mean, then you risk if you are on a yellow. I mean, I think you're right. It'll have to be an increase in yellow cards, if not red cards.
yeah.
It's got to be. So since we're on that topic, I got an article here from the BBC about what part of this new talkback rule can actually earn you a yellow card and what can earn you a red card. And some of them we've been going over it before we started talking tonight, and I think a couple of them are a bit contentious. So one of the first one is for yellow cards, visibly disrespectful behavior to any match official. It's kind of broad, but the second one, an aggressive response to decisions. Let's stop there for a sec, because that one I have a particular problem with. What are they talking about when they say aggressive? Because aggressive could be me yelling like, that is a BS call, ref. Is that aggressive? Is that too aggressive? Is it the tone of voice? Is it maybe I'm throwing my hands in the air? You know, I
Punching the
mean,
ground.
you never
running up quickly to the ref,
clapping the referee, going up to the official. That is really broad for me, and I don't know if this is the same for everybody or for us at this table, but being aggressive and being passionate and disputing calls is part of the game for me personally. Is becoming great. I mean, any swearing or threatening of a referee is absolutely wrong and disgusting, but to contend a call, I don't know. It's part of it for me. Even playing in like a house league or even coaching in a house league, which we've all done.
Yeah.
The three of us here. I mean, it's part of it. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I always say, I mean, whenever a player, it never changes anything. The referee's going to
Well, that's
call.
true.
It's not
Yeah.
going to. But I enjoy it as a fan. I love to, we love it. That's part of that. You're right.
You feel part of the team,
Yeah,
right?
or even a coach. But as a player, it's tough because honestly, you see the captain pull those guys away.
Yeah.
Unless it's going to be the captain to go speak to an official, you really want those guys out of that situation.
Yeah.
If it's a problem, if it's a recurring thing, too.
Right.
Sometimes there are those guys, Ramos, we already talked about Mitrovic from Newcastle, there's a million guys that have consistent problems with refereeing and are always in their ear.
Costa.
Costa, big time.
A couple years
for
ago,
Chelsea,
the whole Chelsea team.
Suarez, I mean, for Barca, I mean, there's tons. Actually, anybody on Barca.
Yeah.
But
Messi's not exempt either. I know
Oh,
everybody thinks
Messi.
he's an angel, but he's not always an angel.
Ever since the tattoos on his arm, ever since the full arm tattoo.
I don't like the
But-
blonde hair either.
but I think
that's another story.
They leave that gray area in there, again, to leave it up to the ref. Because if
Yeah.
a player were to read that, he's going to say the same thing. Well, what does that mean? I think it kind of is up to... I mean, I like to see when a captain, pulls them away, tells them to go away.
Yeah.
At the same time, I like being at home, being able to yell at the call.
So the thing with me for that is I'm a 50-50. I understand nothing's going to change. The
Yeah.
call has been made.
Yeah.
Great. But at the same time, that emotion, it flows through you and it goes to the fans at home and in the stadium.
Yep.
Mhm.
And that
Definitely.
emotion changes the game. Because now, for you are pumped.
Yeah.
You are ready to go.
Yeah.
And the fans are also upset. They're going to voice their opinion. They're going to be louder. It's going to get your team going. So some of these things, it's like in basketball, for instance, not to bring up us, but in basketball, for instance, you take that 3-point shot, even when you don't have to take that 3-point shot, and they lift their hand and show like the 3 fingers, or they pump their chest.
Yeah.
That's why basketball's
That's
so
what
entertaining.
that's
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
gets the crowd going. So this broad aggressive response to decisions,
It just seems like a lot of
just-
control right now.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a little
yeah.
control, and
Yeah.
You do, when do you draw the line?
I definitely agree with that, and it's definitely used as motivation if there is a bad call. It just depends on the circumstances, which again is a gray area.
It's a yeah.
But
it
if
always
you're
is.
down to goal and if you're losing, and you're going to argue a call, well, that's tougher.
Yeah.
If you're up and you're arguing a call, you really need to walk away.
Yeah, you need to walk away.
If you're down a goal, I understand that it's just more of a reaction thing than anything.
Yeah, pressure.
But if you're leading, it's not. I feel as necessary
It's not
for somebody to be in the ref's ear. Just walk away. Go about your business. Focus on the game. Especially if you're leading late in the game, especially.
You gotta keep
But it does all
focused.
depend on game circumstances. I guess that's why they left it as a gray area. But I mean,
Suppose so.
I definitely enjoy, the passion that you get after
it's-
yelling after a
it's-
call
it's part of the
or a
experience.
missed call, which is sometimes even which is bigger.
That's true.
And so the two rules, and this also falls under red card. These are the two that are under red card as well. I think that we can get on board with is physical contact with any match official in an aggressive or confrontational manner, and or it also has in a non-aggressive manner. I don't really know. I guess you can't pat them on the back anymore after they make a call. Maybe that's what they're going for. And the other one is offensive, insulting, or abusive language and or gestures towards match officials, which should be part of that. Should not be part of the game.
No.
You should not be. I always think of the line from Will Ferrell's movie Semi-Pro when he goes to Father Pat, "I'm going to burn your house down
Yeah.
for making a bad call."
I'll burn your house.
Yeah, you can't do that kind of thing. I don't know. Would you think the referees do they just not want to deal with the grief anymore, or do they want to? I wouldn't say maybe like shirk their
They have
responsibilities.
taken a lot of abuse. We gotta admit that.
Is that
Referees,
part
they've
of
taken
being a
lot
referee
of
though?
Abuse.
Yeah, that's definitely part
Is
of it.
that part of being a
It's
referee?
definitely part of it, but maybe
Giving that control?
Maybe there was some sort of last round. Maybe somebody really said something, like maybe it was a repeat offender. We don't know what's said on the pitch either.
That's true.
We don't know what's said.
We don't know.
We don't know. I mean, it's
What's
the same.
off the pitch?
It's the same. Yeah,
Walking out off the pitch.
and it's the same referees. That through the whole year. So I mean, you start a year knowing already how the players know the referee. I mean, you can tell on the pitch. You can tell by their attitude already.
Yeah.
So as the season goes on, I think too, there's probably more and more abuse from probably the same offenders. That doesn't.
The whole you again.
Yeah. You again. I knew you were going to do that.
We're like that as fans.
Just the concept. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
we do that all the time.
Yeah,
we
see
already
the
we already
referee?
mentioned
Yeah.
that. I feel
Atkinson is going to give a penalty
Atkinson, I
to
feel-
Chelsea every game. We know that.
I feel like the referees that we know is because of that reason.
Yeah.
They've done something negative to our team in the past. That's why Howard Webb, he was the best example of it.
Yeah.
Yep.
People always used to give him guff for Man U and favoring Man U.
Exactly.
We didn't mind. But,
No, of course.
but
It's great when it works
everybody
out
else
for
in the
you.
world,
Yeah, it's
where
great when it works out for you.
when De Jong crushes Iniesta's chest in the 2010 World Cup,
That's not a foul.
that might be that should probably have been a red. But it just depends on situations.
Yeah.
But now he's in head office, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, so, yeah.
He probably helped with these rules.
He
But
probably
anyway,
did.
see, we just made I just
There you
made a
go.
judgment based on
Yeah.
past refereeing.
So it's easy, folks. It's
Yeah.
easy to make that judgment.
But we'll see how the season
Yeah.
goes, right? I mean,
But for some reason, and I know we're all itching to talk about this, it is for some reason not easy for the referees to make the call on Diego Costa, and I don't get it. He
Never
and
do.
and in 2 out of 3 games this season already, he should have been probably sent off twice. One for confronting the referee and for giving back talk while he was on a yellow card, and the referee didn't have the gum to send him off, which is where the contentiousness comes in. The second one is he's on a yellow card and he dives outside the box, and it's a clear dive, and the referee tells him to get up, which is a rule I've never understood personally. If you tell a player to get up because you think he's dived,
book
dived, why don't you book him?
Yeah.
If you got enough sense to say you dove, get up, it should be you dove, yellow card, if you don't want diving to be part of the game anymore. So
yeah, definitely.
why does Diego Costa continue to not get sent off by referees? He's had yellow cards, and in England they're afraid to send him off. And I don't get it.
Ever had a red card.
Never.
Ever.
Yeah.
In
How
the-
How?
nuts is that?
Yeah.
In English.
How nuts is that? I don't know. Maybe they're afraid of him. I'm only half joking, but there's got to be something there.
The only punishments he's ever got is straight from the FA.
Right. Never on the field.
Never on the field.
Think about the Arsenal game
Never on the
last year.
field.
Yeah.
Even players.
Causing
I
problems.
mean, yes, they confront him, but even players I found have not policed him the way they should have.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, it seems like he gets away with it, and then I don't know if he's just the greatest guy off the field or something like that. Probably not. I mean, he's looked 40 for,
Yeah.
since
Well, old men
forever.
are wise.
Yeah, exactly. So I honestly don't get it with him. I don't know if there's an explanation. It just seems like it's kind of like Trump. We've just expected it. He can say whatever he wants. He gets away with it. It's like he just keeps trying to push. He just keeps trying to push the boundary of what he cannot do every season. And then once he gets away with it, okay, well then I'll do something else. I'll try diving this time, I'll try whatever.
That's true.
He's tied diving. He's tied diving.
Yeah, you got away with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen a player like it. I mean, I compare him to Suarez in that way, but I mean, he's not as good a player. I feel like Suarez gets away with it because he's such a great striker,
He's an amazing
which
striker.
is unfortunate. But I mean,
in a way, yeah.
I mean,
I would still take Suarez for my team, even though
me too.
he's not
I would
a
just
great human being,
put a
but-
mouth guard on him.
Yeah.
No biting.
Yeah.
No biting
No
sign in
biting.
the dressing room.
Just make sure he eats before the game starts.
Yeah,
He should be
yeah.
fine.
But
Get
I
a
mean,
nice
guys
one.
like that. I mean, maybe it's a striker thing too. I mean, I don't know. It just seems like Costa gets away with it. I mean, Suarez says. I mean, if he was any worse of a player, he wouldn't be playing football anymore.
No.
I mean, really,
No.
biting 3 men
And you
then
can
all the other
you
stuff.
can say that in every sport. The
best.
the stars get an
they
easier
do
ride.
get treatment. Yeah. Like he's not getting cut because they can't afford to, which is kind of the world that we live in here.
When
Oh,
you score a hat trick
no
every
way.
couple games.
Yeah.
I know, yeah. But I find those guys still get more credit. I mean, look at Lewandowski now, too.
Two
Back-to-back hat
hat-tricks
tricks.
in 2 games,
Yeah.
I mean, nobody in the world is talking about him.
No.
Not really.
No.
I mean, as an elite
Not
striker.
as much.
No.
Yeah.
Not as much.
No,
as
I mean,
another player.
for whatever reason, maybe because it's Bayern, they're just expected to be awesome. I don't know. But, yeah. I mean, with Costa, who knows? So,
Yeah.
yeah. Again, we'll have to wait and see with the refereeing, though. I mean, that'll definitely be a subject that we come back to.
Well, we'll see as the season goes on how it gets called more. We'll see where that goes.
Yeah.
Um,
So what do you say we talk about our another favorite team, Arsenal?
sure. Well, it is transfer deadline tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
One of
right.
our favorite days, and
Yes.
Arsenal is at it again. We
I had nothing.
like we all kind of pick like our sort of worst teams
Mm-hmm.
in the Premier League for transfers, and Arsenal is usually on that list
Yeah,
Yeah.
perennially. The,
because they make crazy, just bonkers decisions. And do you want to start with Jack Wilshere? He's been allowed to go out on loan.
let's start with Wilshere.
Yeah.
Let's start with that. I mean, Jack Wilshere up for loan. If people haven't heard, that's pretty fresh news from
Yeah,
early
that is
today.
from today.
Yeah,
That is
yeah,
from
early
today.
from today.
He was allowed to go on loan.
Jack Wilshere, guy who makes the England team after playing negative minutes.
Yep.
For his club.
his preseason was in March
Yeah.
or April.
Guy we
So
know who gets injured all the time. We
He's
know what
made
you
it
get with
last.
Wilshere, but the talent's obviously still there.
He's a fantastic player. When he's fit, he's fantastic.
But-
He's great on the field.
But he's up for loan. And now obviously he's going to have tons of suitors. He has big suitors already.
So far, the teams that have been thrown out there, Juve was kind of thrown out there this morning. That's not so much. Watford, Crystal Palace they could sure use him. They could really use him.
I could see him
right
going
now.
to Palace with all the moves they've done too.
Benfica is
Benfica's
another
gone
team,
up there,
Benfica,
and Sporting
Sporting.
Lisbon.
Yeah.
So
They just lost Joao Matern.
yeah.
to,
Joao Mario. Inter.
Joao
Mario.
to Inter.
Yeah. Inter, yeah.
So,
They need that.
yeah.
I mean,
Good for him, for me. I think it's
Yeah.
a good deal for him to leave Arsenal. The guy gets injured at Arsenal all the time. Maybe there's something wrong at Arsenal. Let him go to another club and see if he gets injured again. Then he's the problem.
I think that's got to be Arsenal's viewpoint.
Yeah.
They got to be
It's
like,
gotta be,
okay, let's
yeah.
see.
Yeah,
we
if,
can
if it's us. Unless Wilshere said something, that's got to be why they send him out on loan at this time.
Yeah.
Day before transfer
Yep.
deadline.
You can go out on loan.
Yeah, go on loan. I know you can do that,
Sure.
whatever. But still, it just seems like the timing, especially Arsenal hasn't brought anything, really. I mean,
Nothing good to the table.
nothing of the same quality as Jack Wilshere in, for sure. But,
Well-
we've talked about Arsenal forever. I mean,
Yeah.
we were talking about Walcott. I mean, Felix was saying, nobody else wanted to pay his wages.
No one wants to pay
Which
him.
makes sense, but he's constantly disappointed for
It's
what?
awful.
8 years now.
Yeah, and they continue to stick with him, and,
Right,
and
they
that's
continue
kind
to
of what's
support him.
bothered me with the Jack Wilshere thing.
Even
is
through
they-
his injuries, too.
Yeah, they continue to stick with Theo Walcott. They continue to have depth problems, And they did make 2 signings. They did confirm that Perez and is it Mustafi? Is it Mustafi?
Mustafi.
Okay, I hear all.
I'm going Mustafi.
Mustafi.
Yeah.
Mustafi.
That just sounds cool.
sounds better.
Yeah, it sounds better.
The German Mustafi.
Yeah. He sounds like he's in the Lion King.
Yeah.
And so he signs today. Our research guru Felix he found some facts on Perez and they're quite interesting.
He's got some advanced
Yeah,
stats.
look at Lucas Perez. He's 27 years old.
Old. He's old for a forward. For a guy who's just come on. I mean, have you guys heard of Lucas Perez before? 2 weeks ago
But
when
it's
Arsenal
Arsenal.
were
I expect them to.
They do that.
True. True.
No one heard of Koscielny before he came. I didn't know him.
And that was
I
fantastic.
would take
Yeah.
Koscielny in a second.
Yeah.
Yep.
But Lucas Perez had a good season last season for Deportivo La Coruña. By the way, that's where it's coming from. 17 goals in 36 appearances.
That's not bad.
That's not bad for a striker, especially for Deportivo. But you look back 2 seasons prior to last season, he had 6 goals in 21 games. He also had
For who again?
For Deportivo.
Oh, it was for Deportivo.
Yep.
Okay.
He moved from
Okay.
PAOK, Greece.
Oh yeah, the Greece team.
He played 9 games. He played 32 games and scored 9 goals. And prior to that, he played 51 games and scored 14 goals.
Yeesh.
To me, they just bought a 10th better of a Giroud.
Giroud
literally
2.0.
They pretty much bought a Giroud 2.0 because if you do your mathematics, Giroud has a 0.42 goals per game ratio, whereas Perez has a 0.32 goals per game ratio.
By the way, that's what you're gonna get on 3 Guys 2 Footballs.
Get all the advanced
stats.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why Arsenal would bring in a striker of that caliber if they are looking to take it to the next level.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't. It just looks like
No.
they're staying stagnant and doing what Arsenal does.
Yeah.
To me, they'll be lucky to finish 4th though.
Right
it
now,
looks different.
the way
with
it looks,
this team, I don't know. I mean, unless Perez, that's such a big gamble.
The unfortunate part, though, is we always say that about Arsenal every
always
single
do.
Yeah, they
season.
always
and
manage to
always
do
seem
it.
to
I
find
know.
it.
They come
Thanks Tottenham for always poaching it, but
Tottenham.
somehow they always
Yeah.
find themselves up there. But maybe this season might be
It'll
the
be tougher.
season where it will be a wake-up call for them to be finally out of that top 4
I mean,
and finally maybe get rid of Arsenal.
And any team that leaves their business to the last day, well, a top team that has really signed. I mean, you signed Rob Holding and Granit Xhaka earlier on before the Euros. You don't get Perez and Mustafi to come in early and get to know their teammates and train. And do you expect both of these guys to go in week 4, like straight away?
Mustafi's
Can
just
they?
for me. Mustafi's just a fill-in anyway for their problems.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just. I mean, not that I don't think he's a good player, but I mean, he was backing up in the Euro.
Is he better or worse than Per Mertesacker?
That's the thing. I don't
Yeah.
think he's
or,
younger.
Or Gabriel Paulista.
He's younger, but I just think it's more of a stopgap in between that
What,
for Holding.
what do you
Because-
think?
I think Mustafi is as good as Per Mertesacker.
Yeah,
They are both.
from what
So
we've
that's-
seen.
yeah.
From what I've seen.
I mean, I've only seen him in the Euro,
Against
but
France, I didn't see anything
No.
good from him.
no.
But then again, some players.
For
maybe,
me, I like that Hector more. If I was going to go after a defender from
I
Germany,
guess so,
but
yeah. I mean, he had
Yeah.
a better tournament.
Some
for sure.
players maybe coming to the EPL might change his game. Maybe he was going to be a better player for them.
Yeah.
Who knows? But
I know it just seems
track
like
record for Arsenal.
exactly. How can you
how
can't
can-
ignore that?
You can't
Yeah,
ignore it.
Yeah.
You can't ignore it. Look at how they have players like Chamberlain, the Ox.
Chamberlain, yeah, Oxlade Chamberlain, another
Another
hasn't progressed.
isn't progressed.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
the same
The same player.
player.
He might be a little bit more refined. Walcott,
Maybe.
I guess. You know.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, now he's younger than Walcott because Walcott's just grown into an old man.
When Danny Welbeck was supposed to have been the best business of
Yeah,
last
well,
summer.
Yeah, another guy who's injured. I mean, maybe it is something with
There's
that.
gotta be a problem.
The training, the
He's
training
gone.
staff. It's-
How about Callum Chambers as well?
yeah, Chambers on loan
All
again?
of a sudden he's on
Yeah.
loan.
I mean, they need.
You keep Rob Holding, who you just bought from Bolton, and you send Callum Chambers, the guy you've been working on for like, what, 3 years now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And he's
yeah,
still not ready?
Yeah,
So is
I mean-
Callum Chambers just not that good?
to me, I don't know. I don't know, but
doesn't get the game time.
Worse than Holding? I mean, how could there's such a small sample
Yeah,
size?
I don't know.
For me, it just looks like they're just getting rid of their depth players, especially without Ramsey now. For some time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It still matters. Every game matters in the Prem. I mean, you lose 4 games, your title's at risk. So
They're only 5 points behind right now.
exactly.
That's
I mean,
what-
really, you lose probably max 6 games if they're going to contend for the title.
Well, what do they need depth for? They only have to play the Champions League and the FA Cup and the League Cup
Yeah,
and the
right.
Premier League.
And then eventually
you don't
Europa.
need depth. Yeah,
Yeah.
eventually
They're just going
Europa.
for 4th
Yeah.
anyways. I mean, it's
Yeah,
not a big
that's-
deal.
That's what it looks like.
That's
That's
what it
what
looks
their
like.
that's what their fans
Yeah.
have to be thinking.
They're content with going forward because after the season they had last season where they had a chance to win the Premier League.
A real
they
chance.
didn't.
Yeah.
The
They
best
didn't
chance
take-
they
the
would have
best
had.
chance they've had in years.
Yes.
In a very, very long time. They didn't take it.
Nope.
I would have expected them to come out guns blazing during this transfer window, right at the beginning,
Yeah.
make big signings, make a big statement.
Nobody wants to go.
But so now what's the problem? Is it the team or is it the manager? Is it Arsene Wenger or is it the whole team as a whole?
I mean, if it was a player, and they weren't even looking at the biggest thing they were looking at was Higuain, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, he goes to Juve, with a little bit extra poundage. But, I mean, Higuain, and then they were looking at Lacazette.
Yeah.
Who is good, but I still wouldn't call him Premier League class for a top team. I don't know. I mean, he's playing with Lyon.
It's hard
I mean,
to judge.
depends.
It's hard to judge
Yeah.
with the French league sometimes.
Right,
No,
right,
no
it's hard to
offense to
judge.
the French league, but
Yeah, it's just
not
the,
the Premier
the
League.
competition. So,
Yeah.
I mean, even if they had gotten him, I mean, he's a little bit more of a name. But still, you expect a club of Arsenal's size, at least what we think should be their size.
you have Champions League as well.
Right,
They
yeah,
should
Champions
be
League
able
every
to
year.
draw these players. And
But
they
is it
can't.
just, is it kind of like, everybody knows what's going on? Right? So
Yeah,
that's,
it's
that's
just-
what they're going to
That's-
top out
That's what they want.
at 4th.
You got to change the transfer policy then.
They
It's
need
got
to-
to be on the policy where they want to save money. They're okay.
But
I
is
guess
Wenger putting the pressure though to the board
I don't think
to
so.
get the
I don't
players?
think
I don't
so.
think
That's where the problem is.
I think
That's
he's
why he's
happy,
been there for so long.
He's happy with
Yeah.
and he's happy to fight the good fight of not this crazy transfer business we've had where you spend millions on a kid who's only had one season. I think
Plus,
he's happy to fight that.
if their managers like Steve Bruce left Hull City because he didn't have a clear cut idea of what the transfer situation was going to be for this season,
Mhm.
he left.
Yeah.
Now is Wenger putting that pressure on the Arsenal board to say, look, I need Benzema.
Yeah.
You need to go all out to get Benzema right now
I don't
for
think
me to come to
I don't
Arsenal.
think so.
don't
The way
see
he
it.
defends it in his press conference, especially recently, him saying all the stuff, we're fine, we don't need. He never says, even Conte from Chelsea,
Yeah.
was like, yeah, we're having a tough time with transfers. He had that press conference just a
Yes.
couple days
Yeah.
ago,
Yeah.
where he said he's like, yeah, we're really struggling, and he just got there.
Yeah.
I mean, Arsenal's been there 20 years more. You figure he'd be allowed to say, yeah, you know what, it's been a tough one.
And
you know?
the
At
comment
least for
that
the fans, right?
Yeah, and the comment that might speak the loudest from Wenger is when he spoke about Rob Holding after their game against Leicester, and he said, I see none of you in the media are asking me about Rob Holding, and I guess you wouldn't because I didn't spend £40 million on him, so I guess he's not worth talking about. And so you can see what he thinks of
Right.
transfers there.
And he's smart too. He deflects
Yeah.
it. He deflects the question away.
He's a wily old
Because then
man.
you start thinking, okay, you're right.
Yes,
Yeah.
we're not asking you because you're not spending the
Exactly.
$40 million.
But he
Nobody knows
but
who Rob Holding is.
right. But he's trying to deflect
Yeah.
any questions away.
He's a
I
wily
don't know.
old fox.
Arsenal. I mean,
I feel sorry for the Arsenal fans because they have had to deal with this mediocre for a very,
20
very
years
long
now.
time.
Yeah,
Since,
really.
Since at least 2004.
For a
Seriously, I
very
mean-
long time.
I mean, look, even in the past, guys like Arshavin, guys like that, are going to be the next thing, and then they
Just
don't.
fade away.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wilshire was the next thing, and now who knows if he'll be there next.
You know
year.
who had injury problems? Arshavin.
Yeah, another one.
About
Yeah,
injury problems.
yeah,
at Arsenal.
Arshavin. Yeah.
Arshavin.
Yeah.
Because he
Even
was
Gi-
fantastic.
Even Giroud now too.
Yeah.
When he went down, I mean, look where they were playing. I mean,
They come back from Euros, and I understand the French team went to the finals.
Hmm.
But it's okay to put Koscielny in. But it's not okay to play Giroud when he's supposed to be your top striker. It's not okay to throw him in the team.
I know how much running did Giroud do.
Who, by
Yeah.
the way, had 33 goals in 53 appearances for Montpellier. Giroud.
Oh,
Did he
really?
really?
33 goals in 53
Now
appearances.
that's why they would have bought him.
Yeah.
So he was prolific for them.
I mean, Giroud for me, he'd be great on a smaller, like in Everton or something like that, or like a Watford even now that's building, or Middlesbrough now.
Yeah, he's really nice to
He'd
look
be-
at.
Yeah, yeah, he is that.
That's about all I see, though. Really.
But I mean, he gets his what? I mean, he'll still. But that's the thing. He'll still get 15, probably, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
off
he,
of about 80 chances, but
yeah,
he will
yeah.
get 15.
You know, he'll get that. I
Yeah.
think it'd be great for him to move. A great career move for him to move from Arsenal,
Yeah,
because I think he'd do well at a smaller team.
he could go to almost any. He could go to Italy. He could go back to France. He
Definitely.
could go to any
Definitely
team
Italy.
and probably be a better striker.
Italy relies on
Yeah.
that more solid number
Yeah.
9 too. Yeah, not that he's solid,
But it's
yeah.
a more defensive game in Italy.
Yeah, you're gonna get more balls in the box.
you get a
But
lot more crosses, and
Yeah.
passes.
yeah, Arsenal.
I also have a big one of my worst transfer teams,
Mhm.
Chelsea. I
Interesting.
don't understand how they're going into a full season with John Terry and Ivanovic and Cahill in their back four.
Yeah,
Those guys are on the other side of 35.
yeah.
Yeah,
I know it's outdated. I know.
It's a little bit outdated for Chelsea. I don't understand. I mean, Conte came out and said, they're having a really tough time
Yeah.
in getting the signings, but
Luckily, they have Conte, who knows how to coach defenses.
yes.
that's
I mean, Italy. I mean, they were in there with. They shouldn't have gone done as well as they did. But the structure that they had was
yeah,
fit that team though.
it was a
Not
solid.
that doesn't mean it's going to work at Chelsea. And I think Zuma. I mean, that's a huge loss,
That's
right?
a-
I mean, that's
That's a huge.
he's
loss.
their next Terry, right? I
Yes.
mean, they're
Yeah.
hoping, right?
Hopefully.
They're hoping
Yeah.
he is.
That's a tough one.
But who do they go for? They have little under 24 hours to figure it out.
I know, yeah. I
Yeah,
don't know. I
It's-
mean, I don't know
it's tough.
who's out there last minute. Maybe they go for a loan for somebody. I don't know.
David Luiz.
Yeah, David
Yeah,
Luiz
that's
came
the
out
talk
today.
today.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the talk
Today is
today.
David
Luiz is
Luiz,
coming
yeah.
back.
I don't think
Yeah.
that's a great idea, but hey, I
But
mean,
he knows the club.
you need something.
He knows the club. Fans know him. I mean, it
Yeah.
might be kind of again just until Zuma. How long is he out for?
He
Like months, or is
he,
it?
He is out for months, but he should be close to back to be back because he got injured towards the end of last season.
That was
Right.
like January,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Because I think
Yeah.
if they get him back
it
to
usually
match
takes
fitness,
about 9 months, so I would assume by end of September he should be back training.
right.
So I think last thing before we should move on to the other football because we have been talking about the Premier League for so long.
Yeah.
One of the stories that became a story was Joe Hart and how he just got cut out of City. Today he signed for Torino in Serie A, and I think we have some mixed reaction to that.
Yeah, I'm not for it, unfortunately. I don't understand why he would go to Torino. First of all, I think if he had stayed in the EPL, he would have a point to prove. For me personally, I feel he would have done well going to a Sunderland, who are always going to be, no offense, but always going to be fighting relegation.
It's not getting relegated.
He is going to be doing a lot of work at Sunderland in terms of being the guy who might actually save their season. So I feel he should have stayed in the EPL.
So I personally feel the opposite. I feel that Sunderland might have been a good move for him, but because he's under the scrutiny and the spotlight that the English media brings with being the number one England goalkeeper, with having not the greatest defense in front of him at Sunderland, that any slip up at any point would have been all over the papers and I think bad for, I guess you'd call it the redevelopment of his career. I think Italy is a more defensive league. I think he gets to go there and learn a different style of play. He will be number one. They are having problems with their two goalkeepers. I believe Gomes and Padelli, I think, are their two goalkeepers, and they're having problems there. There's no clear number one, which is why he's going out there on loan. He's in Turin, so he'll get to play against in the Juventus Torino derby, which would be good. And I think Torino's a really ambitious club. They're trying to get Europa League. They've made some signings, like if you remember Adam Lejac,
Yep.
the very, very, very quickly Man United player.
Yeah.
Was not there for long. So they've made, some good signings there, and I think it'd be nice for him to get out of the spotlight. And I think in particular, England players don't go abroad enough. I think, and that might be something that's holding the England international team back, is that they don't go off and play for some of the other big clubs around the world, and they don't go learn the other systems and other styles of play. Everybody stays in England and plays that one style of play, and it's not really worked out very well. So in that case, I would hope Jack Wilshere goes to Portugal, or also goes to Italy, and I think that might be better for their development as a whole.
Yeah, for me, Joe Hart, I don't know. I mean, I've never been really high on him as a keeper. I don't think he's a bad keeper. I think he would be good at a club like Torino.
Yeah.
Mid-level club is probably more of his skill set too.
Do you think Claudio Bravo is a better goalkeeper than he is?
I definitely think Bravo's a better
Really?
goalkeeper. Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Not because of his Barca, but internationally. I just
Internationally?
find
Okay.
that he has such a more. I mean, Hart does have that charisma, and you see it on the pitch too.
Yeah.
But I think Bravo just has that. I don't know. He feels more solid to me. I mean, and we'll see this league. I mean, the
we'll
league.
see
The Premier League's not for every keeper.
No.
No.
But I also think with guys who go out on loan like this, like a Wilshere and like a Hart, they disappear. And I know Hart's still young for a keeper, but even if it's a good move for him, and I don't disagree that he should get out of town maybe for a little while to help his career.
Yeah.
And he's still the England #1, still will be chosen for England for sure. But I don't know, these guys that leave on loan, they don't bounce back, it seems. We look at Rodwell, a guy like that. Some players like that. We don't really see it too much with keepers, though.
No.
So it's kind of a unique situation, and that I guess we'll see. But I find that players who go out on loan, we'll see with Wilshere, it's really hard for them to come back to that status, or it takes them a long time. I mean, look at Quaresma.
Yeah.
I mean, he went into no man's land for a while after they left. Now they've kind of built it back up with winning the Euro. But before that, I mean...
So it depends what they... Yeah, it depends
I think it's tough to come back from a situation like this. Mentally,
when you've already been a starter for so long.
Right,
yeah.
right. And but Joe Hart has age on his side. I mean, he's still young, for a keeper especially. So, you know what? I mean, the best to him. I mean, I do feel bad for him. That's for sure.
I do. I mean, he's got, four Golden Glove Awards in the Premier League, 5 trophies.
He won on that, I mean, and he has...
England #1. It's tough.
He can make the big save, and he was great in the Champions League last year.
Barcelona that
almost single-handedly got him to the semifinals. Definitely.
Yep. Yes.
Definitely, especially with Toure moving, at snail's pace. But anyway, what do you say? Want to move on to the American football
I think
for
it's
our last
time.
little bit
I think
here?
it's time. Yeah, and I guess we're going to talk about the circus that is the Buffalo Bills.
yeah, that's a good way to
start.
describe it. Yeah. So, favorite team, Buffalo Bills. They've gone through a lot of changes, as they do every year.
A lot of changes.
To start with the Bills, I mean, there's so much to talk about football. The season's getting underway in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
We'll be definitely splitting the show more at that time.
Like a lot of changes.
Yeah.
For the Bills.
Now, their draft picks, Reggie Ragland, Lawson, their first 2 draft picks of this draft, both injured. One out halfway through the season.
See you later.
One ACL, gone. Marcel Darius, their top defensive tackle.
Oh, what do you think?
Suspended 4 games again. But is Rex Ryan the man for the job? We'll see. It looks like the offense is actually going to be the positive with this team, with Tyrod Taylor, McCoy, Sammy Watkins.
Which was not the plan.
No. But you know what? We'll see about the team's play. But off the field, I think the biggest issue that has come up is the changing of the stadium's name from Ralph Wilson Stadium to New Era Field. New Era is the NFL's hat sponsor, and it makes all the NFL's hats that you see them have to put on the sidelines. New Era is also a Buffalo company as well.
I didn't know.
That's out of Buffalo.
They're out of Buffalo.
Yep.
Oh.
But Ralph Wilson, late Ralph Wilson, about 2-3 years maybe now, that he passed away. He bought the Bills, chose to put them in Buffalo.
He was the Bills. I mean, he is a big part of their history.
He chose to put the Bills
Mr.
in Buffalo instead of Detroit. And he bought the team at the time for $24,000. Think about that for a second.
Think about that if you're a Bills fan.
And turned it into what it is today. So, definitely mixed feelings over now being called New Era Field instead of Ralph Wilson. Me personally, when I first heard the news about it changing to New Era Field, with everything else going on the field issues with certain players and things like that we just mentioned, the field name for me was kind of just like, Oh, okay. It wasn't like I wasn't stunned by it. Maybe because we've been through so much heartache. 16 years of no playoffs, longest streak in American sport right now. So I think that for me, the field name change is one of the last things on my mind. So I don't feel like I want to spend time worrying about it when I'm terrified of another season, as I am every year. So I mean, we could either go honestly. It could either be 10-6 or 6-10. That's the toss up with this year.
Yep.
Every year seems to have new parts, new stuff that happens that just crushes my dreams. But the field itself, I mean, I definitely get that why people are upset and why it's changed. But for me, I just I don't want it I don't want it to worry me with all the other issues that are going on right now. I don't have enough room to worry about name changes when people are dropping every day.
I get where you're coming from, but I have to say I completely and utterly hated it. As soon as I heard the name New Era Field, I felt like I was going to vomit. And the reason I felt that way is I guess I'm a traditionalist in the way that when I think about how Ralph Wilson had such an immense effect on this team and where this team is, where it got to today, and how that stadium has been Ralph Wilson since I've known it as a fan, being a Buffalo Bills fan. The first game I go to is at Ralph Wilson Stadium, and I feel like a little part of my fandom was taken away by renaming the stadium.
Wow.
And I think about other stadiums. I think about the Rogers Centre in Toronto, and I don't call it that. It's the Sky Dome. I think about going to New Era Field this year because we will at least go to a game or two, and I will not call it New Era Field. I will still call it Ralph Wilson because that's just how I feel. That is what the stadium is to me. Even with the team proposing new talks about moving new stadium, how long is New Era Field going to be there anyway? And a last point I would make is I don't get when these teams come in, and me and Felix had a funny moment when we were searching up. We couldn't remember what Newcastle United Stadium, what their new name was called, and I put in Newcastle United Stadium on Google, and it came up St. James's Park. And if you're a follower of the Premier League, a vast follower, you know that it is not called St. James's. We still call it that, but it is technically the Sports Direct Arena. But I found it funny that when I typed that in, that is what came up. And I don't understand why when you're taken over by a company, when they buy the stadium's naming rights, what's wrong with maybe, I know they want their name in the bold letters and the big bright lights, but why not keep it, New Era Ralph Wilson Stadium presented by New Era caps or whatever. So have that at the bottom. You still get your name in big bold, but you don't take any part of the history away. Or New Era presents Ralph Wilson Stadium. Something different. To maybe change the game and not have these FedEx Fields and Sports Direct arenas and there's so many of them now.
I mean, for me as a new Buffalo Bills fan, I don't really have that heartache that the name changed, but I take it as a regular fan of any sport. I would be heartbroken and crushed if Old Trafford somehow changed to something else.
It could never do that.
I understand the feeling of the fans who felt that that was like ludicrous that they changed the stadium name. But as a fan, you understand. As a fan, you will always call it the Ralph Wilson Stadium.
Yeah.
Irregardless.
And I feel like I will.
Regardless of it being
sure.
now called the New Era Stadium, but as a fan, you will always name it the Ralph Wilson. You always say we're going to the Ralph Wilson today. That's how it's always going to be. So I see your point too. That that's the least of the Bills' problems.
It is. It is definitely the least
for me.
But at the same time, I don't like it. I don't like name changes.
For me, I'm too angry about 16 years of nothing that I just can't I can't get angry about another thing about this team. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I only have so much room to be angry, and they keep finding new ways every day to make me angry.
Yep.
The stadium, it can't be one of them, or else I'll explode. So, I definitely agree with you guys too. But for me, it's just kind of like it should, for me, be an afterthought. We'll still call it the Ralph.
Yeah.
You know, we'll always have the memories from the Ralph. I do think that New Era is probably the best sponsor we could have hoped for. You know, New Era, every year is kind of a new era with the Buffalo Bills.
And then, like you said, if it being a Buffalo-based company, I think that's nice.
Yeah, so that helps. And to your point about hopefully there being a new stadium, hopefully downtown area near the hockey arena and wherever Buffalo is really seeing some progress, that'll soften the blow already.
Yeah,
where it won't be,
hopefully.
okay, we're taking Ralph's name away because it's a new stadium.
That makes that easier, and I wonder if that was part of the equation.
Maybe, but, you know, we'll see. But guys, I gotta say, I mean, we're at about an hour here. I think I think we're good for this week.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That was pretty good.
But before we go, we just want to thank a few people.
We do. Definitely the one, and we've had a couple sponsors so far already, which was really great. One is they're both local businesses. One is Preston Pie's Bakery, the European and British style bakery here in St. Catharines.
Yeah. Yes, we're in St. Catharines, by the way.
Yes,
Yeah,
we're in St. Catharines, Canada. We're coming from Canada. We should have said that at the beginning, but we're coming from Canada.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, we're not in England. We're across the pond talking about all these sports, and I do have a little bias to Preston Pies. It is, my family does own that, but don't take my word for it, because I think the food is fantastic.
It is yum.
It's all my grandpa's recipes and everything. Go in yourself. Go check out Preston Pies. It's fantastic food. You're not going to get better, you know, steak pies, sausage rolls anywhere else in Canada. You're going to get it here at Preston Pies. And the other place is another family-run business. Very nice people that I've known for a very long time, and that Felix has known for a long time, and Matt as well. On the Ball is a soccer and rugby sports shop here in St. Catharines. They've been around forever, and they're just wonderful people, super helpful when you come in. You got Dougie and his dad Don and his mom Chris, and they're all fantastic people, really helpful when you go in. They've got all your shin pads, your gloves, you know, they got your soccer balls and your jerseys and everything you need, you know, to go out and if you're just having fun in a rec league, or if you're playing, you know, if you got a young son or daughter that's
my
going
son
to play.
got his first cleats there.
There you go, right there. So,
that's right.
you know, if you...
I got my first cleats.
I think pretty much we all got our first cleats.
Jerseys, that's where you go.
Yeah, that's where you go in St. Catharines. They're the people who do it. So check them out. But it's been fun to do the first one.
Yeah, first one, guys. Yeah. I mean, we look forward to next week. We'll talk about the internationals.
Yep.
Finally, the preseason will be over in the NFL.
In the NFL. We'll talk a bit of fantasy football too. That's going to be
can't wait
important.
for that. We're gonna have our fantasy draft tomorrow. You guys ready?
Oh yeah, we're ready. I'm ready to come in last again.
I'm ready. I'm in this time, so you never know.
Yeah, Felix will take over for me.
But yeah, guys,
there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we'll have a lot. Can't wait to have you guys join us.
Yeah.
And we were gonna play the anthem on the way out, the American anthem, but you know, with Kaepernick's issues, we decided against it.
Yeah, we were gonna talk about it. So it's a tough issue.
That's the whole thing.
But
you know what? Hey, we can say what we want on this podcast,
and we're going to. It's going to be unapologetic.
And you know, so can Kaepernick. Right?
Biased and non-biased.
Yeah,
we'll see. And you know, we're going to work out the kinks every show and try to get it going. But you know, thanks for sticking around.
Thank you.
And being with us and listening to us.
It's been fun.
Yeah.
Finally, somebody listens to us talk. So it's nice.
All right.
Well, this ending's kind of drawn on, so we're going to go.
All right, guys.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Good night.